I'm Archbishop Mark Coleridge, and you are watching Q&A, question and answer for the Catholic leader. According to the Bible, there are many false gods, and the false gods can be very seductive, but in the end they deal death. And the false gods are always very popular, they sell very well, because the false gods just leave you where and as you are. And in the end, all the false gods look exactly like you or me. So once we start worshipping the false gods, we end up in a world of self-worship. And that is when the world becomes not a womb that gives birth to life, but a tomb that deals death. The real God, according to the Bible, is the God who dislocates us, who says, go, leave what is familiar, who moves us from one location, where and as we are, to another location. So in that sense, God dislocates us. God draws us into an experience of being wrenched from that which is familiar into the land and the life that He promises. So how do you know that you're encountering the real God and not a false God? Well, if you meet a God who leaves you just where and as you are, and it begins to look and sound like you, you know you haven't encountered the real God. If you do meet a God whose voice is strange and deep and haunting and persistent, and who says, go, leave what is familiar and follow me, then you can be pretty sure that that is the real God whom you have encountered. At the end of the Gospels, you find those strange and wonderful stories of the disciples encountering Jesus after His resurrection. They didn't expect it to happen. They weren't sitting around saying, I wonder when He's going to rise from the dead. But what happens in all of those stories, and the pattern is very consistent, He comes out of nowhere when they didn't expect Him. The encounter with Him, risen from the dead, somehow turns their whole life on its head. It shakes the foundations, and nothing is as it was before once that encounter happens. And then the third thing is, you always get a job when you encounter the risen Christ. He sends you on a mission. So how do you know you've encountered the real Jesus? Well, He also says you can't stay where and as you are. He comes out of nowhere. He'll shake the foundations of your life completely, and He'll give you a job to do. If those three conditions are not met, you know that the Jesus you have encountered isn't the real Jesus, but is the Jesus who in the end is a false Jesus, who in the end is yourself.